No, something weird would happen. Don't do it. When I click share screen.
IES school reunion. Here we are, November 16. And Tina, you're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. So you invited me to present about Naropa University's Ecopsychology Master's Program. And
Entonces, vamos a tener a Tina en esta presentación de su escuela en la Universidad de Naropa.
Okay. So, this is not officially an IES school, obviously, but many of my students are now, and my colleagues are now IES members.
Esto no es una escuela oficial IES, pero muchos de sus estudiantes y colegas ahora son miembros de la IES.
Mm-hmm. This program has been around for about 15 years.
Este programa ha estado funcionando por 15 años aproximadamente.
So I'll give some highlights and then I'll explain how the whole program works. So you can see what a really successful accredited program in the United States for 2 years looks like, and maybe get some ideas for IES schools.
Entonces nos va a dar primero algunos detalles y después va a explicar cómo funciona su programa, que es un programa exitoso en los Estados Unidos y que podamos tomar algunas ideas para los nuestros.
I've been here for 10 years and I was chair, that means lead, for 7 of those 10 years.
Estuve en este programa por 10 años y soy directora del mismo desde hace 7.
Yep. So here it comes. These are the highlights. You see there's English at the top, and I translated it through Google Translate. I hope it worked, so you won't have to work too hard. That it is an accredited Master of Arts program, which is the only Master of Arts program that's accredited in the United States and possibly the world. And further, it is a Buddhist-inspired university. That's the first one.
Entonces, el primer punto está en español, ella lo tradujo con Google, es una maestría, un MA, una maestría en artes, acreditada en los Estados Unidos en una universidad de inspiración budista.
Mm-hmm. It's low residency program. About 2/3 of it is online and 1/3 is in-person intensives. And I'm speaking about all of this before COVID. I'm just going to talk about how it was, and then I'll talk about what's changing.
Uh-huh. Entonces, es una residencia, es un curso con baja residencia, 2/3 es online y 1/3 personal, intensivo, y todo esto es antes del COVID. Luego nos va a contar los cambios que hizo por el COVID.
And students do participate from all over the world at the same time.
Participan estudiantes de todas partes del mundo a la misma vez.
I've had 2 students from South Africa, for example, and right now I have one in Poland.
Tuvo 2 estudiantes de Sudáfrica y en este momento tiene un estudiante de Polonia.
The Ecopsychology program is strongly informed by transpersonal psychology and contemplative practices. Among those contemplative practices is supported mindfulness meditation training.
Entonces, el programa de Ecopsicología está informado por la psicología transpersonal y prácticas contemplativas, incluyendo el entrenamiento apoyado en meditación, en mindfulness.
Mm-hmm. It's a cohort model. We joke that it's a cohort model because I don't like the Roman military word. Maybe say that for
cohort. I don't know what cohort means.
Cohort is a group, a military group, but in English it's cohort. So we say cohort or cocoraton.
Cohorte, en italiano.
Cohorte. Ah, sí, okay. Entonces a ella no le gusta la palabra cohorte porque es de orden militar y utiliza un juego de palabras de corazón que suena similar en inglés.
Mm-hmm. And so one of the reasons for our success is that the students start together, they go through the entire program together for 2 years, and I work really hard to deliberately form a supportive, loving, and collaborative learning community. No competition, everybody wins together.
Entonces, durante estos 2 años que trabaja con los estudiantes, trabaja con un grupo entero que trabajan durante los 2 años con ella y su formación apunta a una comunidad cariñosa y colaborativa y no competitiva.
Gracias, Teresita. Finally, this program, it's a master's program, right? So it does emphasize academic rigor. People learn theory. But not only that, we also strongly emphasize the growth of emotional intelligence, cultural sensitivity, deep questioning of all sorts of things, cultural and individual, self-reflection, honest, courageous self-reflection, the arts, social engagement and activism, and spiritual values.
Entonces, como es una carrera universitaria, sin duda tiene un rigor académico, pero también desarrollan la inteligencia emocional, la sensibilidad cultural, un cuestionamiento profundo, la autorreflexión, las artes, el compromiso, el activismo social y los valores espirituales.
This is a picture of some of our students and faculty at one of the intensives where we were together in person.
Esta es una foto del 2015 en un encuentro, en un curso donde todos pudieron estar juntos.
At Naropa, we have meditation rooms on each campus, and when we're together, we use them.
En Naropa tienen salas de meditación en cada campus y cuando están juntos las usan.
The meditation helps students be able to be less reactive emotionally when they confront difficult issues.
La meditación ayuda a los estudiantes a ser menos reactivos cuando se encuentran con asuntos emocionales.
And we don't just do that, we also do a lot of nature connection activities, but they're framed in the context of being contemplative practices.
Por supuesto, no es lo único que hacen, también hacen muchas prácticas en la naturaleza, pero con el formato de, desde la meditación.
So here's how the program works. I will switch back and forth between English and Spanish.
Acá está el programa, va a ir yendo del español al inglés, del inglés al español más bien.
See, and if you want, you can take a screenshot yourself, so you just to have it, you know, if you want to understand the flow. I'll start.
Podemos sacar una captura de pantalla para tenerlo y así poder mirarlo.
It was too much to put on one slide.
Fue mucho para poner en una sola slide.
So it's 2 years, 5 semesters, 38 credits.
Son 2 años, 5 semestres y 38 créditos.
It now begins in fall, and it goes back and forth. I think of it as a breathing in and out. So it begins with with an intensive, and then moves to online classes. Each one, and the intensives, again pre-COVID, are in person.
Comienza en otoño y comienza...
Sorry?
Teresita, abre tu micro. Teresita.
Sí, no sé qué pasó, que alguien lo cerró. Comienza en otoño y tienen un intensivo, comienzan con un intensivo, o sea, con un encuentro, por supuesto, esto antes del COVID.
Mm-hmm. So those are online then, and every semester has that pattern for pretty much.
Sorry, this is the semester after the meeting personally.
Every semester has this, most semesters have this pattern where we meet in person and then there are online classes for the rest of the semester.
Entonces, en cada semestre tienen esa modalidad, tienen un intensivo de encuentro personal y después clases online.
So like that. Here's how it goes. The fall, they have an initiatory intensive, again pre-COVID, where we were 10 days together in a beautiful retreat center called Shambhala Mountain Center.
¿Qué es eso? What happened?
Could the rest of you mute,
There was
please?
a lot of noise. No, it was a lot of noise in the back of somebody's microphone, sorry. Entonces cada semestre comienza de la misma manera. Tienen un encuentro presencial aproximadamente de 10 días y luego las clases online, todo esto antes del COVID, y se encontraban en un hermoso lugar natural de retiros.
Mhm. Kike, could you mute, please?
Mute? Me?
Mute. Turn off the microphone. Would you say that to him in Espanol, por favor?
To whom?
Oh, thanks. He got it. Never mind.
Who's...
It's done.
Okay, okay.
It's done. Yeah, so this one was 10 days at Shambhala Mountain Center, and well, not only could we not do it, it burned down. It burned down in the Colorado fires. So, lots of changes now. I'm telling you about what we have been doing.
Entonces, en el lugar donde hicieron esto el año anterior, antes del COVID, ahora se quemó y entonces van a haber muchos cambios, ya no lo pueden hacer en ese lugar.
So I'm speaking of last year and the years before. That was the initiatory. Then we have 2 online courses, transpersonal psychology and ecopsychology, simultaneously, some of similar ideas but presented with different angles.
Entonces, después de los encuentros que tienen en psicología transpersonal y ecopsicología, van a haber muchos de estos encuentros de psicología transpersonal y ecopsicología, pero desde distintos ángulos.
Thank you. Spring, they come back for a 5-day intensive. It's winter here. It's cold, and so we're inside for the most part.
Luego, en primavera, tienen un encuentro de 5 días. Como hace frío en esa época, por lo general pasan adentro.
That's in January.
En enero.
And students, by this point, they know each other, and they often get housing together, like a big house, and they have just a lovely time, again, bonding as a community.
Entonces, como la mayoría de los alumnos ya se conocen, tienen mucho encuentro como en un hogar, y pasan mucho tiempo conociéndose y creando lazos.
We have both of the cohorts together. You'll see that this is the whole 2-year program. So we have one group going through this whole thing, and then when they get to this point, a new group starts. But you'll see that this repeats, and all the students are here for the winter intensive together, both cohorts.
Entonces hay 2 cohortes funcionando a la misma vez. Cuando comienza el otoño nuevamente, tienen otro grupo que comienza. Y, do they meet both cohorts or
Yes.
no?
Yes, they do.
Work
And
together?
we have some things where they all work together and some things where we have each group working separately, but
Okay.
they always start together each day and end together each day, and there's a few things that we do together.
Entonces, ambos cohortes, cuando hay encuentros presenciales, hay muchas cosas que trabajan juntos.
One of the most beautiful things we do together is called the Elders Council.
Una de las cosas más bellas que hacen juntos es el Consejo de los Ancianos.
And that's where the 2nd-year students are the elders.
Y entonces el grupo de los que empiezan, los que ya venían funcionando son los ancianos.
It's a guided conversation, guided by me usually, and the 1st-year students get to ask questions of the 2nd-year students as the elders.
Entonces es una conversación guiada por ella, donde los alumnos nuevos le hacen preguntas a los ancianos, a los anteriores.
Everybody loves that.
A todos les gusta mucho.
So here, after that, we have these 2 online classes, Ecology, Concepts and Applications for Ecopsychology. So it's about ecological principles, but slanted toward ecological needs. And then, go ahead with that one.
Yes, después del encuentro presencial de 5 días, tienen una clase, 2 clases online. La primera que nos cuenta es Ecología, Conceptos y Aplicaciones de la Ecopsicología.
And at the same time, they have ecopsychology applied in context, which just extends the fall ecopsych class into real-world applications, also deepens some of the theory, just because I have more time. A lot of the spirituality stuff and social justice stuff gets extended in that class.
Entonces, y también tienen ecopsicología aplicada en contexto, que es llevar la ecopsicología al mundo, a la vez de trabajar algunos aspectos interiores un poco más fuerte. Y what else did you say you work in that class in the one you're signaling now? Sorry.
That one is basically applying the concepts to real world applications. And
Yes.
so one of my best assignments, I teach this class, and one of my best assignments is having them try to change a behavior that they think is bad for both them and the planet.
En este curso les hace un pedido que tratan de cambiar algún comportamiento que tenga que ver con su manera de manejarse en el mundo exterior.
Mhm. In this class, they have a sit spot with journaling.
A six what? Sorry?
Sit spot where they go to one place over and over and really get to know it, and then they understand the ecology of the place through that one small lens.
Ok, en el curso que está señalando ahora tienen una tarea que es sentarse durante muchas veces en un mismo lugar y ver lo que está ocurriendo en ese lugar con la ecología.
Back in here, I'll just tell you, this is where I introduce ecological identity, and they do a case study of themselves embedded in family and place.
Aquí en donde está señalando ahora es donde estudian la identidad ecopsicológica y lo ven en su medio propio y familiar.
That's another one of the best assignments I've ever made up. Here, then we get into summer. Summer, there's one summer session.
En verano hay una sesión de verano.
It's a little longer than 2 weeks in total.
But this is presence?
Yes, in
presence. 2 weeks presence.
Mm-hmm.
En verano tienen un curso de dos semanas de presencial.
Yep. And the 2 courses together, it's called 2 courses, but it really is one intensive. They come to Boulder first for the first one, Ecopsych training intensive, and then they go out to the woods with me for the second one.
Son 2 cursos en uno. En el primero llegan a Boulder, y luego en el segundo van a un lugar en la naturaleza con ella.
So that course right there, that's my favorite thing to teach, I'll admit it. And it's also, it's very transformative for students. This is where we get to take them out for a 10-day rites of passage trip, in essence, with a 3-day fasting solo in the middle.
Entonces aquí en la experiencia intensiva en la naturaleza, 10 days, you say, you go out, se van por 10 días y tienen experiencias así bien fuertes, como por ejemplo una búsqueda de visión de 3 días sin comer.
They come back different.
Y vuelven diferentes, transformados.
It's very edgy to have this as part of an accredited master's program in the United States.
Es muy arriesgado tener una experiencia así en un curso universitario en los Estados Unidos.
Yeah. Okay, then they come back in fall. I'll be faster with this. They do 2 things in fall. One is a transpersonal service learning project where they apply their learning with an organization in their local area. And it might be very humble, but they're learning about what it is to really give service that isn't coming from the ego.
En este curso, que es en otoño, comienzan un aprendizaje de servicio transpersonal en su propia comunidad, en alguna organización, en alguna empresa, en algún lugar donde ellos se ponen al servicio y allí aprenden a trabajar en el servicio sin el ego.
A big learning. And they also begin their master's project, which might be a paper or it might be a project with a research component underneath it.
Y luego comienzan el proyecto de maestría, donde tienen que elaborar algún proyecto escrito o una investigación.
In spring, they begin with that intensive I already talked about, and then they continue their master's project, this one, and they also have a final course, which is Transitions and Rites of Passage, which is timely for them, and they also understand the theory underneath this course they took in summer. It thickens the understanding theoretically.
So in spring, this is the same course? No, it's another meeting together. Tina, I didn't get that because...
Yes, it's this same one as we had here, but repeated. Remember I talked about them both coming together?
Ok. Entonces tienen nuevamente en primavera un encuentro largo de 10 días y de vuelta tienen un trabajo online que son temas de ecopsicología, transiciones y ritos de iniciación, y dice que es un curso muy bien, que a la gente les gusta mucho.
And should I say this again, Teresita? Did you get to that one?
Yes, please tell me something more about that, yeah.
Okay, so that is their final class that's a class rather than a project.
Entonces esto es una clase donde tienen un proyecto.
And it's called Transitions and Rites of Passage.
Yes, y se llama Transiciones y Ritos de Iniciación.
So
ritos de
there,
pasaje.
sorry. So there they learn about this theory, and also this is theory that puts legs underneath that experience.
Y también aquí aprenden de teoría, en este curso de temas de ecopsicología, transiciones y ritos de pasaje, aprenden de teoría, pero también acerca de lo que vieron en este curso que está señalando anterior de verano, experiencia intensiva de psicología en la naturaleza.
And in the last year, I've extended it. I have been teaching this. I extended it so that it wasn't just for the individual, but for the collective, a rite of passage for the collective, and how we in ecopsychology are helping to foster that. That's where, here comes that presentation I gave for you all.
Entonces, ella ahora lo está extendiendo a que no sea solamente un rito de pasaje para el individuo, sino también para la colectividad.
And they also finished their master's project.
Y terminan su proyecto de maestría.
If they don't finish, they can have extensions, that's this.
Si no lo terminan, tienen extensiones, que es esto que señala abajo.
But generally we expect they're done and they have graduation ceremony, yay, and we ask them to come back. We don't require it because they're all over the world, and that's expensive, both in terms of money and ecological footprint. But it's nice to have them come.
Les pedimos por lo general que vuelvan para la graduación, pero no se los exigimos porque muchos viven lejos y es un costo enorme en dinero y en huella de carbono.
If you think in terms of rites of passage, it's important to have the full cycle. We come together in a ceremonial way. Every time we come together, the whole thing is in a way a big ceremony, a big ritual, a deepening of their ecological selves, ecopsychological self. And then we have
entonces si pensándolo en términos de ritos de pasaje, que vayan a la ceremonia de graduación es un rito muy importante que tiene que ver con todo lo que vivieron juntos.
And they all love each other. My students stay together in contact years and years after they graduate.
Y ellos se quieren mucho, ellos se mantienen en contacto por muchos años después de que se gradúan.
That's how it works. Here is a picture of them after one of the Psychology of Wilderness Experience Intensive.
Acá hay una foto después del intensivo en lo salvaje del el encuentro de 10 días.
You see there's the inclusion of art here and there.
Y van a ver que está la inclusión del arte aquí y allá.
The before and after pictures are quite stunning.
Las fotos de antes y después son muy sorprendentes.
When they walk back across that threshold, truly they are different people.
cuando los miro me doy cuenta que son personas diferentes.
This is just a few more pictures for fun from one of those trips.
Estas son una de las fotos de esos viajes.
That young man made that while he was out on solo, and he looked through it to look through new eyes. He called it aspen eyes. That tree is called aspen.
Esta es una imagen de este chico que hizo el retiro, la búsqueda de visión de 3 días y 3 noches y luego sale con ojos renovados, que usando esas hojas de aspen, que es un árbol del lugar.
They learn a lot about how to lead nature connection exercises, of course, throughout this program.
Durante el programa aprenden mucho de cómo liderar experiencias de ecopsicología.
They also learn counsel practice, which is a particular form of listening and speaking that is very respectful.
También aprenden de experiencias de consejo, forma ritual de hablar y escuchar.
We practice it pretty consistently through every intensive, and we use it also as a form in the online courses.
Y también lo practican durante todos los encuentros presenciales y también en los encuentros online.
It requires courage. You have to show up and be vulnerable.
Requiere coraje porque tienen que mostrar su vulnerabilidad.
So you might be interested in this aside. That's, sometimes people say, well, I don't know if I'm going to feel safe. And I have to say, well, you're not going to, I can't promise safety. I can't promise that, but I can promise a brave space, a safer space if we all collectively make it.
Muchas personas le preguntan si van a estar a salvo y entonces ella no puede asegurar eso, pero sí van a estar a salvo del juicio y en el encuentro entre ellos.
One of the students actually came up with the term brave space, and we love it, and now we use it.
With the brave space?
Brave.
What do you mean about that? Brave space.
Yes, rather than safe space, we say brave space.
Brave space. En vez de lugar seguro, ellos hablan del lugar, brave es valiente, del espacio valiente.
Coraggio. But now, these summer intensives had to be held on Zoom.
Pero ahora estos encuentros de verano los hemos tenido que liderar a través de Zoom.
Yeah. And graduation did too.
Y la graduación también.
This is after the ceremony.
Esto es después de la ceremonia.
And you see here 2 of our students got together during the program.
Dos de nuestros estudiantes se juntaron, se unieron durante el programa.
And 3-day fasting on Zoom also?
I refused. That was a red zone on my nope-o-meter, like no, no, no. And so I would not do it. And another colleague said she could figure out a way. I was really not happy that she said that. But then I took the other class, the 4-day one. So yes, they did the whole 2-week intensive on feckin' Zoom. Sorry, I think it's awful, but we did that.
Marcela preguntó si hicieron el ayuno de 3 días y no, que ella se negó a hacerlo, pero que bueno, que hicieron el retiro por Zoom.
However, it's only half the students. The other half decided to wait, and I'm hoping that they can go out with me this coming summer along with the incoming group.
De todas maneras, está aquí la mitad de los alumnos. Ella espera que la otra mitad puedan estar presencialmente en el próximo encuentro, en el próximo grupo.
So this summer, I will be leading 3 wilderness trips.
Entonces este verano va a estar liderando 3 viajes de ecopsicología intensivos.
Right? Two for our students and one for another program.
2 para nuestros estudiantes y otro más para otro programa.
This is going to be weird because usually it's this group of students was all together. And this group of students, it's only half of them with the incoming students. So it'll be people they don't necessarily know. This is unusual for our students, although very usual for the world of rites of passage trips.
Este grupo va a estar participando con otro grupo, y entonces van a haber dos grupos de personas que no se conocen. Esto es muy inusual para los grupos que ya ha liderado hasta ahora, pero muy usual para los ritos de pasaje.
Yep. And so this is what an online class looks like. This is from my Ecopsychology class, just the very beginning of the lecture, just so you can see it.
Esto es como luce su clase online, y es uno de los comienzos de la clase de ella.
It has many, many pages. This is what the teacher sees here. This is not what the student sees, but they see that.
Son muchas páginas. Lo del costado a la derecha, a la izquierda es lo que ve el profesor. Los alumnos ven lo que está en el centro.
So each of my online classes has an introduction, and then a lecture, and then a contemplative practice, and then readings, and then a discussion.
Cada uno de sus encuentros online, de sus clases online, tiene una introducción, una lección, un ejercicio dirigido, y after the exercise, what did you say? Sorry.
It's okay, that was a lot. Contemplative practice was the third, and then readings, sometimes videos.
Readings. Y lecturas también.
Yep, and then for the rest of the week they have a discussion based on a question or two that I've posed.
Y luego durante la semana tienen una discusión basada en la clase.
So all of the classes have those possible components.
Todas las clases tienen esos componentes.
Excuse me, can I ask you which platform do you use for your online courses?
Yes, they've just switched us again. I've had 3 platforms in 10 years. We started with e-learning and then went to e-college, maybe the other way around. And now this is Canvas. It's brand new to us. This semester, brand new. That's what that looks. That's Canvas you're looking at.
Marcela preguntó qué plataforma utilizan, y han cambiado 3 veces. La que utilizan ahora se llama Canvas.
Each one has gifts and drawbacks.
Todas tienen ventajas y desventajas.
Yeah. This one is not so good for discussions. And so I've switched the discussions, instead of being one big pot of conversation that just it goes on forever. You can't find who responded to whom. It's just like line. I broke them into small groups. And then I also interspersed that with every 3 units, I have a real-time Zoom discussion option. They don't have to, but if they can, like this is about half the class, they come, and then the others can do the writing in the forum as usual.
Dice que como los encuentros así a través de plataformas son un poco enredados en algunos momentos, ella ofrece discusiones por Zoom que no son obligatorias, y bueno, y ahí pueden generar discusiones.
This is actually most of my students this semester. I think 3 are missing.
Dice que son la mayoría de sus estudiantes de este semestre, que solo faltan 3.
Aren't they cute? This is the one in Poland.
Esa es la de Polonia.
And this lady here, she's 70 years old, which I just love.
Y esa señora tiene 70 años.
So we get some diversity here. So this is the last slide. this is really true. This is from a flyer, a fact sheet that the university puts out to try to get new students. And this is a student. Yeah.
Esta es una slide de la universidad para, bueno, para que aparezcan más estudiantes, pero esto es una cuestión que ocurrió de verdad.
I took this picture of this student just as she came back across the threshold. I don't usually do that, but she was so amazing with that giant elk antler that she found, and she allowed me to.
Esto es una foto de cuando cruzó el umbral al retorno y tiene unos cuernos de alce que, bueno, fue muy llamativa su llegada. Entonces, bueno, pues ya acá está mostrando la foto que la alumna le permitió que tomara.
So I wrote this a while ago. I'm now full professor and no longer chair. It says, students emerge from this program transformed, possessing not only new knowledge, but also deeper wisdom and some tools with which to apply these in addressing the world's current needs. And there's Google Translate's attempt. You can make it better.
Los estudiantes emergen de este programa transformados, poseyendo no solo nuevos conocimientos, sino también una sabiduría más profunda y algunas herramientas con las que aplicar para abordar las necesidades actuales del mundo.
That's our goal. And I'll also tell you that the whole the whole COVID thing has changed everything so dramatically that I don't know what's happening in future. It makes my heart so sad to think about it being all online. I'm not interested in that. There are other pressures at Naropa too, and so as my colleagues, I want you to know that I'm stepping back. I will no longer be in a leadership capacity for the department. I'm still in an advisory capacity, but my dear friend Ann Parker, who's wonderful, has taken over as chair, and I will be a pure part-time teacher. Although they've put me in, I don't know if this is going to happen, but they've apparently put me in for application of becoming Professor Emerita. So that will be lovely. See if I get it.
A ver, me perdí un poco porque estaba, I was captured by your reflections, so I believe I lost something. What is chair? So you're no longer a chair?
I'm no longer lead. I'm no longer director.
Ya no es más directora del curso de formación. Ella no está de acuerdo en continuar de esta forma trabajando por Zoom, online. Entonces quiere, bueno, está siendo muy difícil ese proceso. También hay un cambio en cuanto a su posición dentro de la universidad. Aparentemente la van a nombrar profesora emérita.
How do I stop sharing screen? I want to do that so I can see you again. Do you know?
Yes, and you move your mouse on top and you can see stop. It should say like something like stop sharing or something like that. On the top of your screen.
I'll get rid of that and then we'll, oh, here we go. Sharing is paused. Stop share.
Yeah, because I took you out.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, so there's that. And yeah, I'll still be leading the wilderness trip. And Naropa is also in financial trouble, like many institutions of higher ed. And so I've just decided, I accepted basically early retirement from higher education. I will still be working in ecopsychology, but in some other way, kind of like Teresita. I'm handing it over to somebody else now because I don't want to be the one who holds these huge changes. They're not interesting to me.
Entonces ella en este momento no está interesada en seguir sosteniendo y está buscando a quien traspasar el mando, digamos, porque no tiene interés en seguir sosteniendo de esta manera. Marcela, can you go on translating, please?
Sure.
Thank you.
So it should be held by somebody who is very passionate, and that's happening in this year. Maybe it will continue, maybe it won't. I don't know what's going to happen.
Y ella está esperando encontrar una persona con pasión bastante que pueda tomar su lugar, ma no sabe todavía qué vaya a pasar este año.
There are many, many students interested still, though. So we'll see. And I think that ecopsychology is very strong, whether or not higher education forms are going to continue being
Ma
very
hay
strong.
muchos estudiantes interesados en la ecopsicología, así que de cualquier forma va a continuar. No sabemos si con la educación institucional o de otra forma.
One last thing I'll share with you just on a personal level is that one of the reasons I decided to step back is the last 5 years I've been dealing with a pretty serious health issue. Very serious, actually. And it was stress.
Pretty serious?
Yes, pretty
No,
serious.
pretty serious what?
Health issue.
Health issue.
Ah,
Oh,
otra razón por la cual yo quise afastarme un poco es que yo estuve con cosas muy importantes en ese último año a cuidar.
It
de
was
salud.
salud. See, it was getting worse, and it's because of stress. And so I decided my life is more important than my economic security and my continuing to contribute in this way.
Y lo stress era tanto y ella resolvió que su salud y su vida personal era más importante de la seguridad económica.
And so now I just had to test, and I am totally healthy.
Hey.
Ahora está completamente en salud.
Okay.
It was a good idea.
Así que fue una buena idea.
Just a buen idea. So that's all I
More
have.
stress after all, huh?
It was a lot of stress, Cleo, a lot of stress, getting worse all the time.
Oh, God.
Not because, the students are lovely. My colleagues are lovely. Being part of an institutional structure, the system, no matter how well intended, is not.
Do you know, Tina, I remember what you told me in Hawaii, that you told me how lucky you are. You have just your own school. You can teach whatever you want as you want.
It's true. I had a lot of...
que Tina me dijo cuando la conocí en Hawái, después que yo presenté mi escuela, ella dijo, qué suerte que tienes. Tú puedes enseñar lo que quieras como quieras.
There's that. And the wilder I got, the more the students loved me. Naropa has wonderful, wonderful qualities.
Y al final, más salvaje yo me quedaba y más mis estudiantes gustaban de mí. And now you will be able to do what you want and as you want. Y ahora ella va a poder hacer el que quiere como lo quiere.
So do you have any questions? Preguntas?
Yes,
Yo
Tina.
tengo. Por favor, Cleo.
Thank you. Just something that I didn't get it. First of all, thank you for the presentation. It was really, really nice, and I liked it because I could feel your enthusiasm about what you have done and how is it working, and this makes it more interesting, I think. Always.
Muchas gracias por la presentación, porque se veía cuánta pasión le pusiste adentro y eso lo hacía más interesante todavía.
So I'm sure that this is something that you give to your students, and because it's very important how you perceive that and how they get it from you.
Y estoy segura que esta pasión es todo lo que tú das a tus estudiantes, porque ellos viven como la persona que enseña lo lleva, lo vive.
I wanted to ask you something practical that I didn't get it. Concerning the online theoretical part of the course, is it live and how often is it?
Quería preguntar en la formación a distancia si era síncrona en la misma hora, en directa, y cuánto tiempo y con cuál frecuencia.
Good question. Before I answer it, I realized I did not say that this program was begun by John Davis and Jed Swift. It came out of transpersonal psychology, so they should be honored for the original creation of this program.
Ella quiere agradecer a dos más colegas que son los que crearon este curso junto con ella, viniendo de la Facultad de Psicología Transpersonal.
No, I'll answer your question. So originally, we didn't have any capacity for synchronous real-time discussion.
En el comienzo no había ninguna posibilidad por hacer discusión síncrona.
So it was all asynchronous and written. Although it opens each week. So it would my classes, for example, open on Thursday morning just after midnight and run until Thursday evening just before midnight. That's a unit, and after that it's closed.
Cada unidad estaba abierta por una semana, era solamente un texto que abría el miércoles a la noche y hasta el domingo, y era solo texto para leer, cada uno a su ritmo.
That's so the students can do the lecture and the reading mostly over the weekend, because many of our students are working people or people with children.
Así los estudiantes podían trabajar, hacer este trabajo, sobre todo en el final de semana, porque muchos trabajan o tienen hijos.
Now, though, well, last year we got this before Canvas on the last platform, we had this thing called Big Blue Button, which allowed for an occasional conversation like this, but it was a disaster.
En la otra plataforma que ellos usaron antes de usar Canvas, había algo que se llamaba como el botón azul, que permitía una conversación en contemporáneo, pero fue un desastre.
It always threw people out. I spent half my time trying to make the dang thing work.
Y con problemas técnicos muy grandes que sacaba a personas afuera.
But now we have Canvas, and so I've begun experimenting.
Mas con Canvas ahora estamos experimentando.
And I hold probably 1/4 of the discussions on Zoom, like the picture I showed you. So every 3 weeks we have a real-time synchronous discussion, and the students together decided what time and day would work for them. I gave them parameters, I gave them possibilities, and then they chose.
Y cada 3 semanas tiene un momento que se encuentran en Zoom y fueron los estudiantes que resolvieron en cuál horas. Ella dio unas opciones y ellos fueron eligiendo el que era mejor para todos. For how long?
It's 2 hours.
2 horas.
Or sometimes an hour and a half, depends on how long we have, but I plan to. And sometimes students can't come, and that's okay, because then they can still participate in the old written way and still get the credit, for their contribution.
So it's or Zoom or the old way?
Or written. There's a place to write. So what they have to, is say that, and then I'll explain it. Please.
Ellos hay personas que no pueden venir al encuentro presencial, entonces ellos continúan haciendo a la manera de antes, leyendo y escribiendo.
So the way the discussion portion works, it's a big part of the class, is they'll see when they first come in the class, they'll see the provocative question that I've posed. It's based on the theory that they've learned that week, along with things that they've learned before, how they're
Cuando
applying.
ellos llegan en el aula, encuentran una pregunta provocatoria que ellos sacó del texto o de los asuntos que ellos estudiaron la semana.
They have to respond with an original post by Monday night. And then after that, they can see everybody else's posts, and then they have a conversation. They must respond to 2 other colleagues at least before the week is out.
Bueno, ellos tienen esta pregunta y tienen que escribir algo original como respuesta, y tienen que confrontarse por lo menos con unos compañeros que respondieron a la misma cosa. Cuando se encuentran en Zoom, pueden ver todas las respuestas. Hola.
And I have to read it all. Did that explain your question, Cleo?
Yes, thank you very much, Tina.
Hola, Tina.
Me gustaría...
Quiero darle las gracias a Tina, a Teresita y a Marcela por el trabajo de traducción.
We want to thank Tina and Teresita and Marcela for translation.
Y bueno, me ha gustado escucharte, me ha resultado inspirador muchas de las cosas que has dicho.
It has been very inspiring listening to you.
Por ejemplo, lo del Consejo de Ancianos, esa conversación guiada me parece muy interesante, de los veteranos con los nuevos.
The Elder Circle, you like it very much.
Like what? I'm sorry, I
The
missed that.
elder circle.
Nice.
También, pues, cómo está organizado el trabajo intensivo con el trabajo online.
The organization of the work online.
También me gusta esa conexión que haces de la ecopsicología con la psicología transpersonal.
Connection among ecopsychology and transpersonal psychology.
Vital, I think.
Me gusta también la idea de hacer prácticas para la colectividad que ofrezcan un servicio y que supongan un aprendizaje para los alumnos.
Yeah, the practical service within the core community.
Y también el procedimiento de escribir respuestas provocadoras para provocar reflexiones y debates.
And the process of giving provocative questions in order to awake discussion.
Y luego agradecer tu energía fresca, alegre y siempre cordial.
And I want to thank your energy that's fresh and friendly and open.
Gracias, Kike.
Thank you.
Me gustaría hablar algo también. China, desde que empezamos a tentar hacer el posgrado en ecopsicología acá,
Since we wanted to create our master degree here in Brazil,
nosotros tuvimos siempre una pesquisa sobre a dónde habían programas por el mundo de ecopsicología.
we started an inquiry about all the international programs of ecopsychology.
Y lo percibimos que muchos programas que empezaban años después desaparecían.
And we realized that many programs that started after a few years just disappeared.
Y Naropa, juntamente con Pacífica, eran muy consistentes programas y siempre fueron referencia en cómo la ecopsicología entra en el nivel universitario.
While Naropa and Pacifica has been reference for us to see how to bring ecopsychology in a universitarian level.
Y ahora nos cuenta el trabajo que consta y cómo fue mantener esto todos esos años. Y te doy mis congratulaciones por lo que han hecho tú y tus colegas en Naropa.
And I can just try to imagine all the works that was needed in order to keep this coherence and working going on. And I want to do my congratulations to all what you did.
Thank you, Marco. Thank you. Yes, there is a lot. You have to go through, well, we went through a huge program review, self-study, program review, bringing in experts to say, what do you think are our strengths and our weaknesses, and then changing things accordingly with what the university will allow budget-wise. It's a lot.
Sí, realmente fue un gran trabajo, poniendo en día, llamando expertos para mirar si estaba bien, si se podía hacer mejor. Realmente fue un gran trabajo.
But it has been a great success. We had 2 years of complete 100% retention. That means no students left at all, and this is unheard of.
Fue también un gran suceso. Hubo un periodo de 2 años donde ningún estudiante salió, y ese es un suceso muy especial para una universidad.
It's pretty good stuff. It needs upgrading now. A lot of things are changing, you know?
Y ahora mucho está mudando. Can I ask you how many hours was the whole program? Because I saw the credits, but I have no idea each credit how many hours correspond.
Generally, a 3-credit class is 15 weeks of 3 hours per week. So
3 each. Sorry, can you say it again?
Yes, each credit would be 15 contact hours in class plus homework, you know, the reading.
Cada crédito son 15 horas de trabajo más un trabajo para hacer en casa, porque yo había, en el programa entero estaba escrito 38 créditos y yo no sabía la correspondencia, eso que le pregunté.
That's how it is in the United States. I don't know how you break it up in other countries.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Una cosa que yo no había preguntado a las otras presentaciones, pero me gustaría empezar a preguntar y después hasta saber de los otros, es quién son las inspiraciones, no lo teóricas, pero prácticas, ¿no? Las inspiraciones teóricas creo que todos lo conocemos, creo yo, pero las inspiraciones prácticas para los 10 días o por las vivencias, ¿cuál es lo que inspiraba Naropa en términos de prácticas?
A question that he wanted to do to all of us, but now he will do to Tina. Which are the inspirators of the practical activity? Say, logical, the theoretical we all share, but practical inspirators for the practical activities might be different from school to school. So which ones are the one of Naropa?
You're asking what practices we do?
No, he's asking, do you want me to go on, Marcella? So, sorry.
Yes, thank you.
He's asking, where do you get your inspiration? Where do we get the inspiration for the practical meetings, you know, from which schools or which elements do we get the inspiration to get to people into nature and the way we work there?
And the kind of practices, the inspiration from the direct practices. Mm-hmm.
I need another hour.
Necesitaríamos una hora para contarlo.
Great. We will have a moment. We will have a moment to discuss specifically that. Thank you. Thank you.
I'd love to. And I love that you're starting your own master's program. Maybe you need a teacher in English.
I would, before we all go, I would like to show you the draft of the diploma, because Gianpaolo, I pressed a lot, Gianpaolo, because we had the meeting today, so he prepared something. Can I show it?
Nos va a mostrar, Marcela, el borrador de los certificados que Gianpaolo estuvo trabajando para que los miremos a ver qué nos parece.
Un momentito first. Just muchas gracias, Marcela and Teresita, for the translation.
You're welcome.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you. It has been really, really enriching. I also write a lot of things. Yeah. I took a lot of notes. Thank you so much.
Ask further anytime.
So these are two possibilities, a plain, more plain one, and the idea, and one with a picture that he said that each year we could have a different picture. So we can immediately know from each year it's the diploma. And we have to decide if we want to do all our diplomas in English, or our diplomas in just English or Spanish, and each nation will choose his one, or if we want each diploma in his own language, in Greek, in Italian, in Belgium, in French, or whatever. And obviously, there is a lot of more work in the second. And then he told me, in this way, he could do it in such a way that he will prepare for each school his own logo, his own IES logo with either Spanish, Italian, Portuguese, or just English. The school can change the name of the student, the number of hours, the place, maybe we can put also the state, and then naturally the name of the director and the name of the school. And he told me he tried to create a PowerPoint where this is possible to change, but I guess I'm going to send you by mail so we can just do each one of us your attempts and see how it works. But just to have an idea, if we like this graphic, if we prefer the first one or the second one.
I cannot see the second one in the screen. Can you a little bit down? I cannot see the pictures down
No.
there.
Or
Or is it only me that I cannot see them?
trying to.
No, I can't either. Yes, I can't
Maybe
see the
No,
bottom,
just
Marcella.
minimize it. Minimize it.
The bottom. Oh.
No, the other way around.
Yeah, but I'm doing with clicks. Just. I don't know how to do it.
I think
Zoom a livello pagina.
and zoom.
You cannot see it, right?
No,
No.
I don't see the pictures in the bottom.
Yes, exactly.
Bruno, come si zooma indietro sto cavolo di PDF?
I think that might be the way it is, right? Marcella, is the bottom just cut off? We can't see the
Yes, the
full
bottom is
letters?
cut off. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Bruno,
okay.
yes,
good.
great.
Yes, perfect.
But still, is it pictures that will be placed where?
The picture, the bottom is just the IES logo, but just the upper slice.
Mm.
Oh, that's kind of.
You
I
know,
don't,
there's my opinion. This one we have in the screen right now is done, finished, and we don't have to be thinking about the certification anymore. The other one, if we're going to be changing the pictures every year, we will have to be thinking about changing the
Yes.
picture every year, and we will have an issue every year. That's
Very practical, bless you.
very practical, yes.
Teresita dijo que sería un lío dover mudar cada año. Andrea?
I agree about Teresita. It took us years to do that. We don't need
Yes,
another.
no, please.
Yes.
Finish.
Andrea?
Marcella, there's still two typos. It shouldn't say certificates. It should say certifies, right, Tina? And then it should, hereby is one word, not two words.
Okay, I didn't realize, I didn't look at, I was looking only at the, so hereby, one word, yes.
Yeah.
and certifies that, not certificates that.
Yes.
May I
Do you want me to write it?
I'll write it.
Well, for me, this is the one and finish the issue.
Yes, for me too.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't really like the stuff at the bottom, but that's okay. I don't like, you can't tell what it is, the letters. I'm sure. I would just take them out, but.
That would be too empty.
What if you
Maybe something around, like something that can be, not be just paper, I don't know.
I agree with that. If it had a nice border that maybe had leaves or something like that, or a picture, the picture that you had. And then also I would make the international training in applied ecopsychology bold, and I would make facilitator in reconnection with nature bigger and a little further away. So it's just really clear.
I will translate, sorry. Perdón, sí. Estamos hablando, los dos diseños, este que está en la pantalla en este momento y el anterior que tiene como unas fotos debajo, se podía, por ejemplo, en el de las fotos debajo, se podía ir cambiando las fotos todos los años. Estamos resolviendo que mejor no hacer algo que nos implique todos los años estar pensando qué foto le vamos a poner. Vamos a armar, vamos a decidir por uno que sea fijo y no haya que pensar más en el certificado. Luego, Julián dijo que no le gustan los diseños de abajo y Tina sugiere hacer un borde bonito. En realidad los bordes de abajo lo que representan son las letras de la IES recortadas, digamos la parte superior de las letras del logo de IES. Entonces ahora están sugiriendo un cambio con la parte de del diseño de abajo.
Did you
Y
get that?
también poner en destaque el International Training of Applied Psychology, Ecopsychology, Teresita.
Y
Poner en
también...
bold.
Sí,
No.
maybe Marco is suggesting to...
No, China suggest. China suggest.
Tina, está, perfecto. Está.
Two suggestions is put in bold, que de poner en mayor.
En negrita o mayor, sí.
Sí, en negrita. Y hacer más amplio el Facilitator of Reconnection with Nature.
And I think it should be facilitator of reconnection with nature. Would you, other English speakers agree?
Sorry, facilitator?
A facilitator of OF.
Los de habla inglesa están perfeccionando el texto en inglés.
I just wrote it.
I'll go with whatever Tina says. Grammar wise.
Actually, I like the green just at the bottom because it looks like fields and hills. So it reminds me, it gives me a landscape suggestion.
A Marcela le gusta el verde de abajo porque le hace acordar a los bosques y campiña.
Wait, I have one more suggestion. We have the logo twice. So if you got rid of the second one.
It's not the logo twice. This is above, it's the IES, and then underneath will be the school of its country logo.
I see.
Tina apuntaba que teníamos el logo dos veces, pero Clio lo muestra que uno es el logo de la IES y el otro es del logo de la escuela.
Pero creo que China está hablando del logo de abajo.
Sí.
After a course of tantas horas hay de nuevo el mismo logo.
Por eso no es el mismo, es el logo que dice school.
Yeah, but it's confusing.
Sí, es confusing.
It's confusing?
Yes. And I have also a suggestion. What do you think if you let it sign, if you can do it practical, by someone of the board and then the manager of the school? Because like this, you really give the international stamp.
No.
I like that.
Anne sugiere que lo firme, que la firma sea de alguien de la junta directiva de la IES y del director de la escuela para así tener una mirada internacional en serio. I like the idea.
Yes.
Sí, hay que ser, es correcto.
Me too. The under Marcella's name, Ecopsychology director. I don't know if that would be clear.
That's the name of her school. That's the name of her school.
I see. So as director, then the other one would say International Ecopsychology Society president or
president, yes.
Whatever, right?
it will be very full.
Yes.
And how do we do the signature of who's far? It's going to be a printed
There's a way we can have, you know, my certificates. I sent the sign, the signature to my designer, and he added it to the certificate. And just by the picture, I signed in a paper, took a picture with my phone and sent it to him, and he added it into the image.
Nice.
Mm.
What would you think of having it be eco-tuner, colon, and then
Estábamos hablando de cómo poner las firmas y yo les decía que en mis certificados tenemos yo les firmé en un papel, saqué foto con el teléfono, le envié la foto al diseñador y él lo colocó en el PDF.
Sí, yo quería decir que aquí la firma es de Marcela, pero este es un certificado para cada uno de los países. También estaría bien que estuviera la firma de director o directora de la escuela de cada país.
Quique, es lo que traduje recién, que la idea de Tina, de Anne, fue colocar una firma de alguien de la junta directiva, el presidente, por ejemplo, de la junta directiva, y él, o sea, acá tenemos el ejemplo solamente de Italia. En el caso de tuyo sería el tuyo, ¿entendés? En cada país va a llevar el nombre del director de la escuela nacional.
Sí, claro.
Este es el ejemplo del de Marcela.
Tina?
May I say something? Yes, I like what Anne proposed about the board, you know, the president at that time who will be and sign this at the left. I was wondering about two things. First, since it's an international diploma, shouldn't be all in English for all countries? Because this is supposed to be recognized also in other countries and they should be able to read what is there. That's my first thinking. And the second is if we have discussed, and maybe I was not present, about having a common hours course, common hours for the course, all the countries.
We had a minimum that has to be guaranteed. That's 207 plus 60 for the personal work. But then some schools have 10, 20, 30 hours more, but we can also...
But the basic ones that should be completed, isn't that good to be common to all schools?
Sí, creo que sería bueno.
Yeah, so it would become 330.
Si puede traducir a alguien lo último.
Me perdí porque me tengo que ir. Se me está haciendo larga la reunión.
Vale.
Sorry.
Que Clio recordó que habíamos resolvido de tener el mismo número de horas para este curso en todos los países.
Sí. Vale.
Yo me recordaba que habíamos marcado un 270 mínimo más 60 para el proyecto, que serían 330. Pero eso es algo que tenemos que resolver. No ahora, porque es en el final de la... es interesante como reflexión realmente. Y otra cosa, Clio se preguntó cómo es el curso, es internacional, si no sería mejor que si el diploma es en inglés para todos.
Yo creo que sí. I agree with that. It's no problem for Brazil.
What I do for my students, I have a diploma like this, and then I have a one-page diploma that's written specifying what he studied, how many hours, and what he did. We could have I don't know. We can decide to do in English the diploma, and each one in his language the more detailed one. Or
I think that's a good idea.
So we could have all the English diploma, and then a detailed
Yes.
one in our language.
And so we are going to try some other design for the bottom or not?
I can ask him to try to do something also with a border, and
Yes.
maybe he can do two more, one with a border. And so shall we take out this IES school logo, the second one?
Yes.
Can I
Yes.
offer one? Can I offer one more design idea? I'm sorry. The way that I would like to see it is on the top, it has the IES logo that says International Ecopsychology Society. And then on the bottom, where it says IES school, to put IES school on the right and put the individual school on the left on the same line at the same size. Does that make sense?
As logo or as written IES school?
As logo. So it would be the Ecopsyche would be on the bottom left, and the IES school would be balancing it on the right.
I would do the opposite, because it's anyway it's a diploma of the school. We can't put the logo of the school in the most small corner, just on the side.
Right.
But we could put it in the middle instead of IES school logo.
Yeah.
Because each one has an IES school that writes the country in the white, in the middle.
Yes, but he would put the logo without the name of the country. Otherwise, he has to do a copy for each country. But if we want, he can do it.
Okay.
Well, we'd have to do one for each country, for each school, right? There has to be different diplomas.
You're right. You're right.
Anyway.
Yes.
Well, may I make a more suggestion just to add to the pot? What if the IES logo were on the top left and a little bigger, and then each school logo is on the right? Like switch those two, and then break the words after the name says has completed the. Break that and have international training in applied ecopsychology on its own line underneath, bigger, in bold. And then also the eco-tuner : facilitator of reconnection with nature, all big in green. And dump that. We'd have space if we get rid of the bottom hills. Sorry, Marcella.
I like it.
Then the words would be bigger and more obvious. And then you have the two signature lines on the bottom, and the school one could have the place below it. You know, if that was that director, the place would naturally be with that signature.
That's
and that name.
Brilliant. I like that, Tina.
Sorry, I just missed the question of the signature. Después lo traduco. What did you say about the signature? I missed that part.
I was following the suggestion somebody else made to have two signature lines on the bottom, and the first one on the left would be the IES El Presidente, and on the right would be the signature of that school director, and then below that person's name it would have the country name, and then it's done. The place.
So without IES logo.
Without
IES school logo.
Well, the IES school logo could go on where you have Ecopsychology. We'd switch those two, and the school logo could go on the right. Okay. Each school logo.
Okay, I like it.
You might have to draw it.
La propuesta de Tina es de poner el logo de la escuela a la derecha, de IES a la izquierda, más grande, más al lado, y abajo la firma del director de la escuela a la derecha, abajo del logo, y del presidente a la izquierda, abajo del logo de IES, y poner también en el espacio de la firma el país, sin el logo IES School. Y también,
Me gusta, me
y
gusta.
a mí también. Y también has completed, completó, después cambio de línea, International Training in Applied Ecopsychology, más grande y negro, y Ecotuner Facilitator of Reconnection with Nature, más grande en verde también.
Me gustó mucho. Sí.
Sí. So what are we going to do with the hours finally? Are we going to put minimum so everybody has the same and then just put the extra hours if it's needed? I don't know.
Let's see now very quickly. How many hours do each one of us have in your training? Marco, Clio.
Yo puso
Quique.
340 horas.
Marco 340.
Sí.
Clio.
I have to check. I don't remember it now. Just a second.
Julian.
Well, it's like 300, but I've actually never done it, so I don't know.
Anne.
I think I'm checking also, but I thought about 290.
Enrique.
No lo sé ahora mismo. En estos momentos no lo sé.
Yo tengo 350, ma lo puedo bajar un poco. Para hacer la cuenta, habíamos ya resolvido que el proyecto son 60 horas.
How many?
60. When we work on the hours last year, we decided then that the practical project will count for 60 hours.
Yes, mine is.
I have 220.
Sorry? 220 plus 60.
And for me, it's between, because they have an option, they can take extra, between 278 and a half and 200, yes, 290 and a half without the projects.
Without the project, so plus.
So you take 278 to be sure. Without the projects.
Now with the project, we need the whole packet, the whole.
But then you have to do 278 plus 60.
So it's 340. We have Claudio, Marian, are you here?
Sí, nosotros somos 290 el programa y más los 60 del proyecto.
So
350 entonces.
Claudio, 350.
So our master's degree is 540, it looks like. And that, you know, this should not be a master's degree equivalent. It should be.
Yeah, this is yours is a master's degree, exactly.
Yeah. Certificate is lovely.
I don't know, Teresita, how many hours, but I don't know. We have to decide if we want to put a minimum and then each school can add few hours, or if we want to decide all for the same number of hours. What do you think? Tenemos que resolverse poner un mínimo que cada escuela tiene que respetar, o si resolvemos tener todos el mismo número de horas.
I have a suggestion.
Yes.
Yo acabo de preguntar a Belén para ver las horas y confirmarlo, que es la que lleva el control del curso. Ahora os lo puedo pasar.
Sí, Enrique is very fine with Belén. Tina?
I suggest having a minimum, and I'm just throwing out this number. You can decide if it's too much. Say 300 hours, because I'm hearing around that now. And then if people want to have other things, it can be a special course and they get their own special little certificate for that specialty on top of it.
I don't know if it would work out that simply, though, for a course.
For me now, it would be difficult to just say to all the people who just have 12 people who will start to add that.
Yeah, for me also would be very complicated because I'm running the school since years. For
Yes.
350, I would have to do less hours, and paying less would be a bit confusing.
Yes. Is it
How many you have, Marcela? How many hours?
I have 350.
250?
Oh.
340, but not to 300.
Wait, 250 or 350?
300.
350.
200. 3.
I don't think we have to have all the same hours. I think we can put a minimum that an international training of applied ecopsychology has to have. And he wants to put more, can put more. Well, not 600, but let's say from 300 to 350, something like this.
Let's think about it.
Sounds like a
Yes,
and make a decision next time.
Yes, we don't have to decide this just now.
Yes.
Yeah, I would love to have a discussion about how you determine contact hours versus personal study hours.
You're right, also.
Well, with our program, personal study hours don't count. Homework does not count in the contact hours.
No, I don't count it also.
Well, yeah, but that's what I asked. I originally thought 270 was contact hours. So I created my curriculum around 270 contact hours. But then I asked Marcella, and you said that about half of that was contact hours.
Contact hours? What do you mean? Online?
In person,
yes.
Class hours.
Julián está preguntando cómo, con cuál lógica vamos contando las horas, porque unas son en presencia y otras no. Yes, I confirm. I had to do the counting today. It's more or less half in presence and half online or in e-learning.
I see. Okay. All right. We should just, can we have when we meet again, can we talk about that?
Yes. Let's talk about these things next time.
Yes. Ese podría ser el asunto por el próximo encuentro, con qué lógica contamos las horas y así será más fácil.
Perfecto, vamos a hacerlo.
Sí, muy bien.
Bueno, es eso. Está bien.
Tina?
Before we stop, I just want to say to all of you, thank you so much for allowing my students, my graduates, to be accepted as ecotuners, like without going through an IES school. I really appreciate it.
Muchas gracias por aceptar mi alumnos del Naropa como ecotuner. Well, with 500 and then working with you, no doubt.
Yes. You think we could doubt that?
Andrea, when you will start your school, you will have everything ready.
It's great.
Well, she's going to work with me.
I might wind up working with you too. You never know.
Okay, I asked Zoom to do the recording online. Shall I put it on? Do you want me to send it to you, Julian, and then just you put it on our channel?
YouTube.
As it is?
Yep.
As not as just how do you say, non in elenco, not in the list, private link.
Yeah. Unlisted. Yes.
Unlisted. Okay.
Yep.
So I'm gonna send
Okay,
it.
guys.
Okay.
This was a really, really
next
great
time
meeting.
then.
Thank you, everyone.
Yes.
Thanks for listening, Tina.
Thank you, everybody.
Você vai me mostrar lá onde é que tá, Juliana.
Bye bye. Ciao.
Bye.
Buonanotte.
Ciao for now.